Alright, welcome back to the Brownie restoration. As you can see, the cab's sitting on some drums and there's no frames underneath it. My dad and I pulled the frame rails out of the truck and we're starting from scratch now. So in this episode, I'm going to lay out the new frame rails and get the holes drilled and get the rails installed into the new cutoff suspension that I'm going to use. So stay tuned. Alright, so there's the cutoff, and I removed the frame rails from the cutoff. There's the right, there's the left. Here is the new rail. This is going to be the left side rail. So I have the right side rail off my cutoff, and I've got my wheelbase. Here's the center line anyway. Wheelbase, got this frame on here lined up. I purchased some of these transfer punches. They're just a shade small, but boy, do they work wonders. I'm gonna have to look into getting more of those. They are pretty cool. So anyway, this is ready to drill. I don't know how well you can see, but I have center punched all the holes I need. I color coordinated them with some Sharpies. So when I pull this rail off, I'll know what size to drill. So I got 4 different colors: blue, green, black, and silver for my holes. Got it on the piece of paper here. And so we're ready to take that off and start drilling. Okay, as you can see here, all of the holes have been drilled in this left side frame rail. I used the cutoff that I'm going to use to mark the rear part of it, and I used the original truck frame to mark ahead of the suspension, to mark all the holes. Then I set that drilled frame rail onto my blank frame rail and transferred and marked all the holes that I needed. The big holes here you see are for the airbag, the tubes, the lines that feed the airbags on the 8-bag, the big lines that come through. And I used a hole saw with this drill chuck adapter on the mag drill to drill those big holes. I used angular cutters with the mag drill to drill the rest of the frame holes. Now I double checked the truck frame rails, the original ones. I double checked all the holes that were used. I wanted to drill the least amount of holes as possible in these new frame rails. So I just checked to make sure that I only drilled the ones that were needed. And on both sets of rails here on this particular truck, there's approximately 100 holes per side. Okay, been drilling this frame rail, but I figured I would video how I'm drilling it with this Hogan mag drill that I bought with the angular cutters, and it's working out pretty good so far. Magnets on, we're ready to drill right now, so we'll see what happens. Turn on the coolant. Here we go. There you got it. 1 5/8 hole drilled in a frame rail. Alright, both rails are completely drilled. Got the new left there, right one's here. Got the holes drilled. Got everything smoothed out. Here's my pile of shavings from both rails. But yeah, they're both drilled and sanded. I went back and just smoothed them out with a flap disc. Threw a little more primer on them. So I think today we'll get these babies slide into the new cutoff and try to do a little reassembly. Okay, I'm back doing the old voiceover. I did a little time lapse here of putting the frame rails, or the new right side frame rail, into the cutoff suspension. You can see that I already had the left one installed, but my dad gave me a hand here, and this is how we decided to do it. We used the forklift and just side shift, to use the side shift on the forklift, and slid the frame rail right into the cutoff suspension. On the cutoff, the frame that I took out of there was 5/16 thick, and then these new frame rails are also 5/16 thick. So that was a plus. I didn't have to adjust any of the cross members as far as to keep the frame width the same. So that actually worked in my favor. So as you can see, we just side shifted the frame rail all the way in, and then I put the bolts in. I had to use the pinch bars, and you got to fight it a little bit because there's 4 airbags. There's the big center piece for that Kenworth 8 bag, and then there was 1 or 2 cross members, I think. So you got a lot of loose pieces there that you got to fight the bolt holes to get them in. But everything lined up. I didn't have to ream one single hole in the rear there so far. All the bolts went right in, and yeah, I was pretty impressed. It worked out pretty well. All right, so it's the end of the day. You saw us slide those rails in. Boy, they went in pretty smooth. Just side shifted them in. But anyway, got the bolts in. Everything's bolted up. I still have the air lines to hook up for the airbags, but all the bolts in, everything's snugged up. I'm going to eventually, when we get her back up on tires, I'll put it inside the shop on some flat ground and tighten the heck out of everything, and then that way it'll be good to go. Just got some other cross members here, just temporarily holding it together. All right, well, thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.